guys, and welcome back to Brutal Honesty with the girl K Renee. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome back to K the Bookworm. In today's episode, I have a very special guest with me. She is one of my pen sisters who I recently just met a couple of months ago, and her name is Kaige Keria. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Starving, but I'm fine.
So I would like for basically how I got found you. Like I said, I didn't really know nothing about you until we got found and then lived together. To be completely honest. And then I downloaded your books, which is Twisted Family, Trials and Tribulations, and then is it Ivy's Tale? Yes. If you like a good suspense story that is basically adult fiction or like kind of like an urban romance type of feel, definitely buy her shit because Twisted Family had me confused. Especially book 2 had me very confused towards the end of the book.
Towards the end, like that last chapter, you was like, wait a minute. What happened? Yeah.
So tell my audience how did you get started in reading and what made you sign a random blank?
Okay, so how I got started with writing is pretty much I grew up reading a whole lot of books, and there wasn't really a lot of stories catering around my preference. So basically, I'll start off with writing like little short stories, or basically just writing poetry. And then Twisted Family actually came to me when I was like 15 or 16. The original storyline was pretty much, it was going to be like a whole lot of incest. I don't know why. It's just that's how the story was going. Ivy actually died in like chapter 2, and pretty much you had to figure out why she killed herself.
Oh, she's gonna kill herself.
Yeah. So
Oh.
that was the original storyline. But when I got older and revisited Twisted Family, the whole plot changed, and boom, we got what I have written thus far. So that's how that came about.
Okay, so why did you sign a random blank? Because I know you was an indie author before you signed underneath them.
Pretty much I wanted help with marketing, and I just wanted to like build on my craft. Like I know how to write, I know how to tell a story. It's just that I wanted to actually build on it. I wanted to become better at marketing. I wanted to become better at how to basically write and really tell a story. So I just wanted to improve. That's why I became signed, because I wanted to work with people who have been in the game, and they about to start eating. They hungry.
Fine.
And I just wanted to basically just just improve myself. I want improvement, because everybody needs to improve, one way or the other.
Nothing wrong with that for sure. So let's start into Twisted Family. So Twisted Family, if you guys never read this, is the book cover. Let's see the cover. This is the cover right here. This book, not gonna lie, it was a slow burn in the beginning.
It is. It was.
So I did put it down a little bit because my viewers know I hate slow burns. But then I want to say around, I think, the funeral, that's when things started picking up for me. I really don't know how to explain it because I tried to explain it to somebody last night and she got confused as fuck. So can you tell my audience exactly if somebody asks you what Twisted Family is about, how do you explain it?
All right, so pretty much it is, because I just started learning how to literally explain Twisted Family. Picture this: it's a family function. In this case, it's a family funeral. You have like with every Black family, it wouldn't be a funeral or a reunion if drama didn't pop off.
Yeah.
So, but it's just that in this case, their drama just runs deep as shit at this point, because there's a lot of secrets that's going on in the family. There's a lot of basically he say she say. There's a lot of favoritism, and there's a lot of hurt and misplaced anger that's going around. So imagine putting all that under one household.
Gotcha.
To go to one event. something is bound to pop off.
Gotcha. Okay, so here's my first question. Xavier Sr. It feels like the way you described him, it made it seem like he had more than one, like more than two families. So with Caroline, did you make her that way because she was so young and she snapped, or just because she was doing her own dirt and she never thought that Xavier would leave her?
Okay, so when I first started Twisted Family, at first it was just supposed to be basically Caroline was supposed to be the victim. She wasn't supposed to be what she became out to be once you finish reading it and you start to get a good glimpse into Caroline. I don't know how the hell it even got to that point because I was shocked as I written it, because as I was writing, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
Caroline, what the hell? But Xavier was supposed to have been like this big ass hoe. He just was just fucking anything if it's not his way, whatever. And just so happened that Caroline just got caught up. She just was talking to another dude. He found out and just wanted to play a little get back. But as I got to book 3, I realized it wasn't Xavier Xavier wasn't the bad guy. It was Caroline. She knows how to manipulate people. She knows how to get it pretty much basically is like she knows how to get what she wanted. And she wanted Xavier. She was able to change him around because he fell for the act that she was giving him. And it just so happened, the saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. Pretty much Xavier was like, okay, bet, you want to do this? I got you. So it's pretty much that's how it went.
Okay. So Ivy's story, from what I've read so far, because I haven't read the third one, it reminded me of have you read The Product Plan by Ashley Antoinette?
Yeah, I did.
It reminded me of Leah's story.
Mm-hmm.
Her, wanting affection, her wanting Yaya's dad, would come to find out Yaya's father was actually her father, but the father never told her something like that. That's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of like Leah, like Ivy being Leah and Leonie being Yaya.
Mm-hmm.
But in that intimate, they were kind of like sisters instead of actually half sisters. In spoiler alert, they actually are. How they kind of like Ivy's like Ivy becomes like Leonie's niece or aunt in a way. If you look at it,
It was auntie,
like that, something like that.
You're right.
I don't feel bad for Ivy. I feel like she got what she deserved. But like I said, I haven't read the third one yet, so I really can't say.
All right, I get it. I know.
Like when I read Leah's story, even though she gave us the background of what happened, how she became who she is, I still didn't feel bad for her.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad for Leah neither. I didn't. I feel bad for Ivy, but Leah was somebody I couldn't.
It was like, okay, whatever. And then we go to Leilani. So this ending of book 2, I was going to ask, was that the secret that Mal told Chris before he shot him?
No.
No?
No. A lot of people ask me that. No, that was not the secret. That's not even nowhere close to being the secret. No. But I will give you a hint. If you read Kaige, because I know one of the readers asks, is Kaige kind of directly part of Twisted Family? Yes, it is. Pay attention to the clues, pay attention to the last names, pay attention to everything, because that family is sort of kind of directed towards a character in the Kaige series, and it is intertwined just a little bit, just a smidge. Okay. But with that is, you have Chris, you have Ivy, you have Leilani. They're like the siblings, because we're not counting Xavier because he was doing his own thing. We're not counting Junior. But if you pay attention to them 3 characters and then you look at Caroline's family members, you will see exactly who resembles who. Even though Leilani is not related to Caroline, she resembles a sibling of Caroline.
Got it. So it's basically saying that we're going to Caroline.
Pretty much. It's like every generation is pretty much like a cycle. So you just got to figure out what the cycle was, what happened in the previous generation, and what it happened in the new generation, because pretty much everything, like what happened with Caroline happened with Ivy. What happened with Chris happened with the uncle. What happened with Leilani is kind of like what happened to the other sibling.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So, book 2 was kind of all over the place for me as well. But I'm happy to say that Drake is dead. I'm happy about that. I wasn't shocked to know that he and Francesca was messing around. So my question is, did Mal already know that he was married to Francesca, but still put his cousins up towards the situation?
See, I can't say too much about that. Okay, there's a method to my madness. I know, like you said, book 1 is a slow burn. Book 2 is kind of like plots here and there, here and there, here and there. It's like more questions instead of answers. And there's a reason for that, because it's like I can't give y'all the full story without y'all seeing the pieces that I'm giving y'all. So it's like you got to try to put the puzzle together. It's puzzle pieces. It's a method to my madness. So with that particular question, it's just like what everything Maul does is a reason. It's you can't with him, he won't mess with you unless you're gonna benefit him in some kind of way. So if he's friends with somebody, there's a reason he's friends with that person. He's just not going to befriend that person just off the strength of he just wanted to. No, there's a reason. He's very diabolical. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? He's just the devil in my
What you're saying is the ending that I read, I shouldn't be too concerned about it. He's basically going to probably play here in the end.
That ending for pretty much it exposes Leilani.
That definitely did for sure.
Because in book 1 we was like, oh, she's innocent. Oh, she Ivy, why? She had nothing to do with that. But then we get the book 2 and we see that she basically is in a relationship with Maul. And then it's like what I wanted to get from that is I wanted you to be like, okay, so did Ivy had a reason to hate her? Did they set up Ivy? Was pretty much what is the truth in this book? Pretty much, it was book 1 just a fluke, or was it just like what is it? And that's what I wanted to get out of book 2, but I got more of it out of book 3.
Okay,
because you dwell deep into everything, her rape, her relationships with her siblings, everything comes to surface, and it's just like book 4 pretty much is going to be the full circle.
Gotcha. Because I was just like, when she told Maul that, she wanted it to happen and she wanted him not to wear a condom to get pregnant, I was like, what the fuck?
Pay attention to that. That's a clue. That is a clue. That is a clue. I'm telling you, Maul is very diabolical. But what happens when he teaches somebody who is just as diabolical as him?
He's basically he's going to get played. Let's talk about Exodus for a second. I feel as if, for one, I got a feeling if she steps to Kay, if she steps to Kay in like a real gangster way, Kay's going to kill her ass, for one. That's how I feel. 2, I feel like Legend is going to try to be strong, but at the same time, Exodus, like I said, Exodus is so manipulative because of who her cousin is. She probably picked up a few things that she's going to try to get Legend back in her traps, but I got a feeling Legend is going to be so adamant, especially when he finds out what happened to Xavier. He already found Chris, that something's going to snap in him to where he's like, I don't want to talk to nobody, because he basically is going to be all alone.
I can't say nothing about that. But Exodus definitely, I don't know too much without giving away. Exodus was just one of them people who just she tried to do the right thing, but look who she's related to.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, Mo, he's not gonna talk to somebody unless there's a reason, and he definitely not gonna put up with somebody unless he has something on them. So there's a reason why he put Exodus in the situation that she, even though, you know,
It was kind of her fault.
yeah, it was kind of her fault because she could have just backed away from it. But there's a reason why Maul even set up that arrangement in the first place. So it's like
I
everything
already
has
don't like
a
him. I don't like him a lot.
secret.
Let's talk about Cage because I have two questions. One, I was not expecting the end of that chapter to end like that. And two, you changed the name.
Okay, so in the beginning, it was supposed to be Love Without series.
It was Love Without Loyalty at first, because that's when I read it, and then that's why you posted on your Facebook group, which is specifically us. If you guys aren't on it, I'll leave it in the comments below. You had like a quote that was on your characters, and then when I read it, I said, "Wait a minute, is this the same?" That's why I asked you that question. I was like, "Is this the same book?"
Yeah,
Or
it's
oh,
a re-release because okay, so I had Twisted Family, I had the Love Without series, and I had the Unknown series. With you know, with Sky and AP, they wanted to see how can we market Love Without and Unknown, because basically those are more along the lines of romance,
mhm.
and they're like a different atmosphere of Twisted Family. It's like, yeah, even though they're related in a
So it's
way,
like in the
still
same universe, but like different subplots.
right,
Okay.
right. So pretty much it was just like, how can we market this and put it like all together? Because when I write whatever character is talking. If it just so happen to be a new book, then it's a new book and a
That's
new
how I write
series.
my stuff too.
So when we came together and we just was like throwing ideas, Sky was like, how about we just put them all together and just put them under a different series. So Cage is actually a re-release of Love Without, but it's just as I'm putting them, making sure they actually fit together, it's just you'll see the difference between the original story and this revamp story because it's like a revamp.
Okay. I'm loving Blessing so far.
I love Blessing too.
I like Avery so far.
I like Avery too.
I feel as if Priest is up to something from what I've read so far. Is it Yvonne or Yvonne?
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like she is going to be up to something, especially if Avery's going to start messing around with Autumn. You're not answering me, so I feel like I'm right. I'm keep going. Autumn, I feel, is going to break out of her shell that she's in now, but at a cost. And I feel like her sister is going to be like a Ivy, kind of jealous because that scene where Autumn like walks in on her and she's like, whatever, I don't care. But at the same time, I feel like she's like a crackhead.
That a card kid.
So either she's really addicted on either she's like high, either she's like weed a lot, or she's going to be addicted to drugs. One of the two. Those are my suggestions. Those are my from reading whatever. But like I said, it's a re-release, so a lot of things probably have changed since you put that book out. What can you tell us about Cage?
Cage, basically, I wanted to write Cage. I wanted to give like another view of things. It's no secret Autumn is a virgin. So pretty much it's like when you grow up, you want a certain thing. Like you say when you start dating, you want this to happen, this to happen, and this to happen. And that's pretty much Autumn. She saw her mother and she saw her sister date these bum ass dudes. And she just like, I'm not gonna date a dude if they act like that. They have to act my way or no way. But we all know it don't work like that. So pretty much that's where Avery comes in, and it puts her in a stump and she don't know what to do. So it's like pretty much the confusion of a young girl trying to find herself and, try to get her footing on life. But with me, there's a twist. Always gotta have a twist. So that is like pretty much, I would say, a coming of age tale, but then it's sort of not. in a sense. But I can say that there's a trigger warning. um, and that's about it.
Okay, cool. Good to know there's a trigger warning in that. Let me see if I have any more questions about Kaige since it's coming. It's coming out next week, right?
Yeah, 15.
15th. Okay. So this will be out the day before your book comes out. So yeah, so that works perfectly. What makes you want to be that author that when people read it, they basically cuss you out in like the comments?
I I don't do romance. I don't want to sell a fairy tale. You know, I feel like there's a whole lot of authors that does that anyway, and they do that good. I'm not the type of person to sell
I didn't.
dreams.
Okay, hold up, pause. I didn't tell you a fairy tale, did I?
You did with
I
Anthony.
did.
I was like, he is the perfect dude. Why can't I find? That's a fairy tale. You sold me a dream. I can't find a dream like that, but that's a dream, okay? But I can't do that. I kind of envy authors that actually can do that because I don't have that skill set. I never been in a position, none of my characters have ever been in. Maybe like heartbreak, you know, breaking up and stuff like that. But as far as Ivy went, I never been in that type of position. But I've been around people who have. And when I started writing, I wanted to be like, you know, when people read this, I want them to either help them change their lives or see that they are not the only ones who have gone through this and there's a silver lining at the end of the rainbow.
Okay.
Especially with Ivy. Ivy's been through a lot. So it's either gonna sink or swim. If she swim, then I want the person who's been in her situation feel like if she could do it, I could do it. I could change my life around regardless of the mistakes I have made in the past. Same thing once you get into Cage and you read Autumn's story. I don't know how her story is going to end. Actually, I do know. But I don't know how her story is going to end, but I want people to feel like they can relate. I want all my characters to be relatable and see that this story probably has, you know, touched their lives. If I could just touch somebody's life, I'll be happy. Because I don't really write for the money. I just write just to get a story across because these characters has been on my mind since I was like 15, 16, and I'm just starting to get them out. And it's just like, whew, all right, let's go.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I feel as if your book, this is my first time ever reading you, and you definitely made a fan out of me. I know now to be very, don't read all your books in one setting.
Please though. I tell people all the time, they be like, I just read book 1, what the hell? But I'm about to read book 2, and I'll be like, don't do that. Don't you do that. Because Ivy's Tale, what I tell people all the time, when I got to Ivy's Tale, I was depressed writing the book. And it's just so, and it just was because I was going through stuff in my life. It's just that Ivy's Tale is just so deep and dark, and you know, in the really put into perspective that a person, like an actual human being, can possibly go through this.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here writing this person. Like, I don't even know how Ivy even came to me. I just feel like she's a spirit and they put it on my heart to tell their story. Like, I don't know if she actually was a real person or maybe she just somebody just was like, I need a sign, and some, you know, some higher being just like, hey, I got a story for you. Just put this out there just like that. So writing Ivy's Tale was basically very depressing because I started writing her story in July. I didn't finish till December, and usually it don't take me that long to write a book. And it was just a whole lot. Like, I had friends checking in on me, asking me, am I okay? I had to stop writing, and I wrote another book just to have something to release. And I went back to Ivy's Tale. And I was so happy when I finished. So when Sky was like, you know, you got to keep pushing. Ivy's Tale is just like, her story is just so dark. Like, I don't want to go back there.
I guess because you was in a dark situation when it happened, and now that you're out of it, you don't want to go back into that.
Right. That's, you know, they always say push Twisted Family, push Twisted. I don't want to push it. I don't want to push it. Don't bring me back there,
And a
Jesus.
lot of authors, I think that happens to a lot of authors when they're in a dark place, and now that they're out of that, and it's probably like one of like their main books that are talked about, and every time somebody asks them about that book, they be like, "Please ask me something else." Because I
Yeah,
mean,
like just
yeah,
do something else. Don't ask me about no. I'm like I'm not writing the last book, but I'm outlining it. I'm sad that the story is ending, but then again, if like I said, if it touched one person, I'm happy that it did what it was supposed to do. But I'm not really worrying too much about pushing it because it'll reach whoever it needs to reach when it's supposed to reach that person.
man, I totally agree on that book. I totally agree on that part. Totally
That's
agree.
that's just how I feel. If I'm not really worrying about too much because Ivy's Twisted Family is not really for everybody. It's not really
Yeah.
like an everyday read. Like, oh, let me go reread Twisted Family. No, it's not one of them reads. And I wrote the book, and I could tell you, it's not one of them reads. I don't even want to go back and reread it, but I have to because I'm writing the last book, and I want to make sure everything is covered. But I'm not gonna go back and reread it. It's out there. If you want to know what it's about, go ahead and read it. But I'm not expecting a reader to come back and say, "Oh, I reread this like 5 times." Like, what the hell is wrong with you at this point?
Yeah.
Why did you go back and read it 5 times? And there's a lot of other authors' books who wrote something like Malta Flame. I read that book once. I haven't.
Multiple Flame, I think I read it twice. But I only read it twice because of ethic.
What is wrong with you?
I read it because of ethic. I read it when it first came out. That was my first signed. That was actually my first signed copy of her, of Bastion. I bought it directly from her. And then when Ethic came out, I had to read. I had to like not read the whole book, just read some parts in
Okay.
the book to understand Ethic a little bit more. That was it. Never read that.
Okay.
That was who. I do have a one and done book. Oh, Cartel 7. The book was a one and done for me.
See,
That is,
that's
if somebody paid me, I tell people all the time, if somebody paid me $1 million to reread that book, I would never touch $1 million.
I'd be like, it's a good ass read, but it's no. You gonna read it once.
I cried like somebody I knew died when Carter died. Like tears were like, oh my god, like I'm about to cry right now. Like I tore up when he passed, and he passed away with something so fucking simple.
That's what I say. I say this is messed up. Like, who thought of this?
That is the one. I think that is like the only one book that I will never touch ever again. And I tell people that all the time. Everybody's like, so what do you read? Like, what do you recommend? I recommend The Cartel. He was like, so I be telling them blah blah blah. He was just like, so what's your favorite book to reread? I said, book 4. That's it. He's like, you don't want to read book? Nope.
Nah, I don't know.
That is the only book I do not. I cannot reread again.
My friend told me she spoiled Cartel 7, and because I asked for spoilers, and she was like, I just want you to know Carter died of a heart attack. And I said, the fuck? So I literally only read 1 through 6. I have yet to touch 7. I don't want to know what's in 7. I'm not reading 7. I bought 7.
Well, 7. Yeah.
Because it's a set. I had to get 7.
Yeah.
But I would not read 7. I don't care. It's just one of them books where no, you're not about to kill him. I'm gonna read 6 because he's alive and healthy, and we're gonna keep it pushing.
Yeah. 7 has a lot of trigger warnings.
Yeah, see, no.
But at the same time, if you read Long Live the Cartel, you see why CJ, his son, is the way that he is. And you see why Mecca, well, is it Mecca? Yes, is it Mecca?
Lil Mo.
Monroe. Boom. Monroe. That's his name. Monroe. You see why he is the way he is in book 7.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna tell you. But you see why those like the new generation is why they are how they are in Long Live.
Right. Okay.
That's the only reason. But I don't have really any more questions because like I said I didn't read Ivy's Tale, so I really can't get into that because I don't want you to spoil it for me.
I mean, Ivy's Tale is a big trigger warning. Like I made sure that was like the first page when you open a book, the trigger warning. It goes. It pretty much. Some people say it's the prequel, but it's not because, like I said, it picks up where Twisted Family 2 left off eventually.
So
It's
are
just
we getting how can I say this? So are we getting any type of close in circles that we left into?
you only gonna get a few. You're gonna get just a few, not a lot, because the main circle that's gonna get exposed has to be the end, because that's like the main thing, and it's a lot to touch up on. Pretty much you just basically get why Ivy's the way that she is. You get some insight on Leilani's mental health, I'm gonna say.
She ain't right in the head either then.
So, and then you get some clarity on why because some people ask why Maul targeted Ivy the way that he did, like why he's just guy, why he keep going after Ivy. And it's just like you start to figure out why a lot of stuff is happening to this particular family.
Okay. Cool. So besides Cage and besides your Greek novella that you do have coming out, I know you probably don't want to share that right now because that's the summer thing. What else do you have planned coming out this year?
Okay, so I don't know if it's coming out this year because I'm still outlining it and I just want to make sure it's perfect.
Mhm.
I woke up one morning and I chose violence. I said, how can I piss off the Christian community?
Oh my God, what did you do?
So, Twisted Family, Twisted Romance, Twisted Soul is my thing. That is my thing. So pretty much I want to go to the dark side of religion. So it's a book. It's going to be called Meet Me at the Cross, and pretty much it's going to explore a pastor's family and what they go through. Now, it's not all lovey-dovey like, oh yeah, our Father, our heart. No, it's the dark side of what happens with preachers' kids.
How you doing this, kids? Because preachers' kids can go one way or the other. They can actually follow the Bible, or they can follow the devil. Which way you going?
And so it's pretty much the pastor, and how people in the church, they always go and be like, oh, how can you teach us if your kids is out of line? And there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's torture and stuff like that, so I wanted to incorporate that into how this family disciplines their kids. I woke up and chose violence.
So basically, are you going to put a trigger warning in that too?
Yes, almost every book I write is going to be a trigger warning, because some shape, form, or fashion it's going to be a trigger warning.
Okay, here's my question, and I want you to be honest with me. When and if that book does come out, are you ready for the negative response that it might bring you with?
At this point, I just feel like I woke up, it was on my mind, and I was like, damn, this is a good story. I don't know who put it on my mind. Somebody put it on my mind. I'm just saying, stuff like this does happen. It's not like
I agree with that. It does.
It's a fictional story. No, stuff like this actually happened in the church home, behind church doors. Like, we have with priests raping young boys. Like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm just simply writing on it. That's all I'm doing. So if somebody feels like this is negative, I'm not dissing God. I'm a very I'm not saying church going person, but I believe in the Lord. Whatever He gives me, it's a talent from Him.
Amen.
I'm just going after the people that uses religion to hide who they really are. That's all. So we're not gonna get. I'm a very God-fearing woman. I'm just going after His so-called flock because they treacherous.
No, I am definitely ready to hear. I'm actually more interested in reading that book because that one seems like it's going to be a very good one with a lot of twists and turns.
It is. It's very. I'm almost done. I'm giving myself a couple of months to write it.
To write it, yeah.
So maybe by this time next year, I'm hoping, but it will be done by next year.
I am definitely looking forward to that book. I feel as if you're going to have to use. I feel as if for a book like that, you're going to have to go into the Bible to pick up some scriptures a lot. Because I feel like if you're going to have to do a lot of research.
A lot of research, and I'm friends with a couple of preachers' kids, and
Oh, okay, so you actually get like first experience too.
yeah, and I talked to them about it, and they was like, "Yeah, that's a good book." Like, yeah, yeah, there was a lot that went on in my household with my dad, who was a pastor and a preacher, and my mom, who was like the first lady of the church. Like, there's a lot that's put on these kids, and it's like they can't do nothing because
Nothing.
they're like in a public eye, so they can't go out and misbehave and try to live life because they have to be quote unquote perfect. So yeah.
But I mean, 9 times out of 10, though, 50-50, half of them kids are wilder than kids that aren't.
Right, but they probably did that undercover. But what happens when the mama and daddy find out what their kid was actually doing?
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to
I do
know.
agree. Definitely agree. So that is basically your big bang for the upcoming months. Is that book right there?
That book right there.
That is going to be, yeah. I'm definitely have to put you back on the podcast for that one. Probably a couple of months like after it came out to see how your fans or the just people in general who reads the book response to it. Because I feel like that one is definitely going to be a game changer. And I just don't mean that in your world. I mean, of course it's going to be in your world, but I just feel like just in general going to be a game changer because you never really read a book like that.
Mm-hmm.
And be it so like, and for it to be so, like, how could I say this? We hear stories, but we don't actually see the stories. Yeah, like what goes on in the household. And I don't have friends that are preacher kids or anything like that. So I don't even have cousins that are preacher kids like that. So it'd be kind of cool and at the same time kind of sad to see how they are living their lives too.
Right. Because we get stories like Greenleaf, oh, they hid up, they hide stuff, but
they weren't really that. I mean, they just only, if you really want to talk about Greenleaf, they really only hid that one secret.
Yeah, that was it.
Fucked up, regardless of the situation, but still, they only really heard that one big secret.
Right. So that's pretty much it. But there's like so much that goes on. Like if you watch SVU, they did like a big church secret thing, and it's just like with the whole, like, we all know that there's some priest out here that actually molest little kids, and we don't really hear, like, we hear it, but nothing really gets done. So it's like, what else is out there? Like, what else is the church hiding from us? So that's mainly what I wanted to focus on. Like I say, I don't sell stories. I just try to find like a real ass story and just try to make it, make sure that it touches somebody that might have been going through this to help them out.
I'm ready for that story to come. So, yes. But that is all I really have for you today right now. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Do you want to tell the people where they can find you at?
You can find me on damn near every social media site. You can find me on Facebook, Twisted Souls Playhouse. That's my reading group. My Facebook page is my pen name, Kaige Keria. Twitter is the same name. It's Twisted_Souls_Playhouse. All my books are on Amazon. I do have a website by the same name, twistedsoulsplayhouse.com. Yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere.
Okay, well, I'll leave all that in the links below. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in into another episode of Real Honesty, or thank you for watching the bookworm, excuse me. We are at 260 subscribers. Like I said, I really want to try to get to 300, but by my birthday, I said that's intended as in 8 days. Will it happen? Probably not. So we get it by like the end of the year, or at least by around 1 year, which is in life. Truly appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe on the podcast. Until next time, guys, have faith, have confidence. Love you. Always, always be you. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.